Alright guys, today we are going to rebuild a carburetor on a ryobi 2800 psi pressure washer. I've already done a video on how to diagnose this. I've done a video on the recoil on this. Those are in my YouTube channel. For any of the parts we use for this are going to be in the description below. Carburetor, air filters, kits, whatever I can find that you may need for this job. First thing we're going to do is pop off the air filter cover. Air filter, this is practically new. This thing just sat for a long time, and I've pretty much tried everything to get this to go. I've drained the carburetor, I've cleaned out the tank. The gas was rotten in the tank. And he'd put some good gas on top of it, so you could tell that, but it's just not going to work. It's got to have it carb cleaned out. I'm going to take these two 10mm bolts out. Okay, so we got the bolts out and the air filter cover off. We're going to remove the fuel line. I've already cleaned the gas tank. You want to clean your gas tank, make sure there's no water, dirt, anything like that in it. I'm just going to shut mine off and remove the fuel line. Get the choke arm and throttle arm. We're just going to turn this and they'll slide right out like that. Then we'll pull the spring off. We can pull this gasket off the back of this just to get it out of the way. You just make sure that you're putting it back later on. It's got to be between the engine and the carburetor or it won't run right. Same with this gasket here. You just pull it off, get it out of the way. Alright, now 10mm, we're going to go ahead and remove that bolt. Alright, and then sometimes you got to tap the bowl a little bit just to get it to come off. You see the muck that started building up in this, where it's been sitting and rotting for quite some time. We're going to go ahead and pull this pin straight out. Just get me out. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead, pull this float straight out. Needle valve, don't want to lose it. Alright, now we're getting to the good stuff. Inside of here is the main jet. We're going to need to remove it. Let me show you a little trick I've learned. Alright, so this is my trick. 14 karat gold testing acid. It will burn your eyes. Wear safety goggles. It will burn your skin. If you get it in your eyes or on your skin, just rinse with water. Don't panic and you'll be fine. It's not going to melt you like freaking RoboCop type shit. It's just caustic. So I'm going to take and put a drop inside the jet, or 3 or 10, whatever. Just let that boil and simmer in there. And that's going to clean up the jet enough for me to be able to remove it. It's cleaning those threads at the top and everything. It's even heating the metal up a little bit. I'm just going to let that simmer in there. Once it's done simmering, we're going to rinse it out. That's enough. And we're just going to let it rinse out real gently. We don't want to splash this in our faces. So really gently, we're going to rinse it through. Then we're going to grab a flathead screwdriver. A number 2 screwdriver. It's what you want to use that I've ground the sides down on so that it'll fit. And you want to use a number 2 because a number 1 is just going to just strip it. So get that in there and turn it counterclockwise. The top, and you're just going to tap it out. You may have to bang it with a flathead screwdriver or whatever. Just tap it until it comes out. Jet, see it got dirt on the bottom side too. That's why you want it out. And then the Orifice tube is still in there. If you look inside here, you see that short one. You can use a flathead screwdriver and just kind of stick it in there and then pry like this and pry that down and out. You're just going to push it down. That comes out. So, you know, this one needs to be cleaned too. So we've already boiled this one from this side a little bit. We're going to go ahead and boil it from this side a little bit with the acid. Drop on here too. A couple of drops in here. Just let them simmer. Then on this carburetor, we're going to put some drops in here and here. Those are your idle circuits. So that those can boil out. Just let them do their thing. You can also go in here. That is part of the idle circuit as well. Just drop it in there. We want it to clean out nice, clean. Then we're going to go ahead and rinse all these out real gently at first, just to kind of get the acid off. This is empty, but real gentle first to get the acid off. Then you can actually go hard through it, you know, to blast it through, you know, a full hard squirt. You just got to hold it with one hand and squirt with the other hand. And same with this stuff, real gentle through it. Once you got all the acid out of the way, real hard squirt. Now if you get this stuff in your eyes, brake cleaner, carb cleaner, it'll burn like hell, but it's not going to blind you. It's going to make you think that you're going blind, but just blink your eyes as much as you can, and it'll go away in a couple minutes. If you don't feel like it's going through properly, just do more drops. I think this jet is still slightly clogged, so we're going to put some more in there and just let her boil one more time. Again, when it's done boiling and everything, just gently spray to rinse all the acid off and out of the way. And then you can go more seriously by pushing the straw in it and holding the other end and really giving it hell. All the carburetor. Then you're also going to rinse off all your carburetor parts. This needle valve here, you're going to make sure that there's no crust. If you got to, you scrape this all off with a flathead screwdriver. And then the rubber tip I found, if you do like a circular motion gently on your pants, it'll sign that rubber tip right up. Make it nice and clean. Just make sure there's no crusty, crunchy stuff for it to hang up on. Just get as much of this stuff cleaned off. The staining is okay on these. It's crunchy stuff that you can fall off and clog jets. You don't want them in there. Same with inside here, all rinsed out well. Make sure you got a clean passage through here and here. Sorry, I'm not recording this damn thing. All rinsed out well, clean passage through here and here, because this is where your fuel comes in. Make sure that's clear. Same with the bowl, nice and clean. You're just getting the crusties off. The staining is fine. Just get it, you know, I squirt some carb cleaner in there and squirt it on a rag, scrub it with a rag, whatever you got to do. Bolt. Scrape the bottom of the bolt off, squirt it off, make sure it's clean. Don't remove the gaskets that you don't have to, like the bolt gasket, leave it be. Same with this gasket in the carburetor. Don't mess with it. Just leave it in there, because if you start messing with it, you're gonna break it, and then you're gonna have to replace it, and it just makes it a pain in the ass. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and clean all this stuff up and get ready for reassembly. Now to put it together, orifice tube. The flat side, we're going to leave the flat side out towards the jet, drop it in. Jet, flat side, goes down towards the orifice tube, drop it in. And then we're going to screw the jet down. This will actually wiggle in further, but we're going to screw the jet down until it's tight. Put the needle valve into the float. It just slides into, you know, slides right into place like that. And then we're going to set the needle valve into this hole right here. It's just a pain in the butt to try to do it looking through the phone. Just like that. And then we're going to push this pin through this into the float and hold everything together. Just push it all the way through. That. Now, you should be able to blow air with your mouth through here. It shouldn't allow any air through until you lift this up. Alright, so as long as this is completely sealed when it's closed and letting fluid through there, that part is fine. Now, we're going to go ahead and rinse everything off one final time. Just make sure there's no dust or dirt or anything that's gotten in there. And we're going to put our bowl back on top. I've scraped and rubbed and got everything chunky off of here. There's still staining, no big deal. Same with the bolt, got it scraped off good. There's no chunkiness left on there. Put that back on, and we're going to tighten it down. Go ahead and put the bolts through the air filter assembly. Actually, you know what? First, let's go ahead and hook up the linkages and fuel lines on this carburetor. So we got the choke. When the choke is pulled all the way back, it's choked. So the only thing that's going to pull this back is the front one. Boom. And then it's choked. So we're going to connect that one to the front. We're going to connect the throttle to the back on the thicker hole. But first, let's go ahead and get the spring into place. Like this. And then we'll get the throttle arm in place, and then the choke arm in place, like that. And then we just twist them. Oh, popped out. Get them all the way. What the hell? There it is. And then you're just going to twist them, and then they're all in position, just like that. Put the fuel line back on. There's usually a clamp. This one doesn't have a clamp. Make sure the fuel's flowing properly, and then put the fuel line on. Now I like to have the choke open. I like to turn the fuel on before I put anything together. So we let the carburetor fill up and then see if there's any overflow. If it starts overflowing and out of the mouth and everything, that means the needle valve isn't seating properly. And sometimes you can just tap it and it'll be fine. Everything looks good. I don't see anything crapping in here. I don't see any fuel coming out of it, so that's good. All right, bolts through the air filter assembly. We need to get this to line up. So we need this little hole to go to this spot right here. So we're going to put this like this. And that's going to line all up with everything like that. Then we're going to shove these bolts through this carburetor, that, and then we're going to put this gasket in like this between the carburetor and the bolts. There we go, just like that. Set them all in place, and then there's a hose back here. All right, there's this hose back here. It hooks up to a little nipple that's back in there. I can't get the flashlight and the camera at the same time. See that nipple right there? Just get it pushed onto that one. Get that pushed onto that nipple in there. And we're just going to go ahead and tighten all this back on. Runs perfect. Don't run it for a long time with no water hooked up to it. Just fire it up and make sure it run good. Air filter was good and everything, so I'm just going to pop that back on. Close it up. She's ready to go. Alright guys, this helped you out in any way, shape, or form. Hit the subscribe button. Show me some support. Give me a little thumbs up. I'll put the acid in the description below. Any of the other stuff that I can find, like a tune-up kit, carburetor, whatever I can find for this, I'll put it in the description below. Yeah, that should be it. If you want to do any advertising on my channel, message me. I'd be more than happy to have you. Peace.